Peace to the gods, peace to the gods. Yusufel here. Got a good show lined up for you today. We're going to get into a discussion about status correction, why you need it, why you must have it. Let me see some. Let me see if this is still available. Yeah, it is. Let's see. Do I still have my... Hold on. I'm putting together a... I'm about to... let y'all call in and talk to me. I think that's what I want to do today. I think I want to talk to all of you. Oh, shit. Okay. Let's see what we got. I got a few minutes. I started at 10 o'clock. How many people in here? I got 71 people here already? Wow. I came in fast. Give me just a second. I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. Okay, things like this, you just have to be patient. All right, just be patient. I'm about to give y'all a phone number that y'all can call in, so y'all can call in and talk to me. All right, there you go, right there. Oh, okay, I got a... What area code is this? Let me see. All right. Okay, I'm gonna do it through PayPal. Now I'm gonna do 100. We're gonna do 100. All right. All right. Yep, that's it. All right. All right, so I got that. And that's the local number. Okay. All right, host the show. Disable. Record show. No. Caller. Name. Look up. Disable. Okay. So if you want to talk to me, I want you to refresh your video. Oh, no, not yet. There's a phone number. So if you refresh your screen, you will see a phone number now on your screen. So refresh this, and what's going to pop up on the screen right there in the title of this video is a phone number that you can call. You can call in and talk to me. So right now the phone lines are open. The call-in number is 214-441-6361. Once again, it's 214-441-6361. Let me get online real quick. Let me get online real quick. All right. And now I'm going to just give me a sec.
Thank you for calling call-in screener line. Please enter your show or meeting number and press pound. Six-digit PIN number. Welcome, host. You are now in the host room.
I'm sorry, I don't even think y'all heard me. I apologize. I said I'm waiting for the first caller to call in. Call-in number is 214-441-6361. Apologize for that. All right. If you refresh your screen, if you don't see the phone number is in the title of the video. So all you have to do is refresh your screen. And you will see it. You will see it. Refresh your screen. You know what? I'm really tired of people trying to contact me talking about Charlie Kirk. Let me just say something. I'm just going to a message to, I'm ashamed of my people at this point. For anyone who celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk, you don't have to, I'm going to tell you what's really insulting about people. When they call me and try to tell me, I've been listening to Charlie Kirk for 10 years. Motherfucker, you just heard of him yesterday, and you're going to come and try, well, he did have some racist. Shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. All right? Just shut up. Y'all make me sick. Y'all, all these things y'all do to try to make excuses. All right, let me go to uh hold on, I think this is Washington, D.C. Our first caller. Where is that? Let's see. That ain't it. That's not it. Where's that old area code? Is this? Oh, here it is right here. All right, so I'm ready now. So what we got? We got area code 202, which is DC. All right. Okay, you're on the line, DC.
Peace to the guys. Can you hear me?
Y'all can hear you loud and clear, brother.
I bet. So, I've been studying under you, with you for like about 10 years, and I've had success. My first case, I got bopped upside the head for talking wrong, but because I didn't know how to lay down what I learned the first 3-4 years, but after that, man, I was burning them up, my elders had to kind of tell me, like, still kind of be humble, although I know humble at its etymological term is not one's wish to use, but, people still use that word. Anyway, so they'll be like, don't come in the courtroom just abusing, be respectful, but lay it down. But it framed my lifestyle or how I looked at things from the, block perspective, being in the hood or whatever. So, as far as Second Amendment rights, it was a big stretch for me to learn trust and learn how to move in honor, with the principles are few, with the many methods, because there's many methods that will make you and force you to capitulate or starve yourself out. But long story short, man, I appreciate you for doing what you're doing. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you too, brother. And I'm glad to hear you had some success. Like I said, when I started doing this, I just told the truth. I knew people were going to, my whole thing in doing this wasn't really so people could go in the courtroom and start having success. I'm going to tell you, be honest with you. The reason I started doing this is because for a long time, a couple of years, I was doing it by myself. I was fighting foreclosures alone. I was like a one-man show. And I got arrested and, trying to defend a house one time. And I thought they were going to kill me. They came to my house, guns, all kind of stuff. I just got into it with a judge. And right then I had made the decision. I said, in order for me to be effective with this, I got to tell a lot of people. I said, I ain't going to be able to do this by myself. So it's good to know that the message is getting out. People are standing up for themselves. It's not easy to do, obviously. I applaud anyone who does go into a courtroom. Let me say, I applaud everybody for the courage. I just wish more people would invest a little bit more in their preparation before they go into the court. But I always, pat anybody on the back that intends to stand up for their rights. But I'm glad I've been able to help you, brother. I appreciate you.
And let me say one thing. I don't mean to be cocky with it. This is why people told me to chill and be humble. Because whenever I get a presentment of a courtroom, I get excited. Before I used to be in fear. It's a total difference. I start picking it apart as far as the audit with the IRS at its inception. You know what I'm saying? What's the where it started from financially? I started to pick it apart. And I'm going to tell you, like, it's a big difference when you come into that courtroom asking them for the financial statements, and quoting them and let them know that, you guys may be in possession of contraband. Are you sure you want to check? Because you always want to ask a question. And when you get to asking them questions, it's a whole different ballgame. I've seen people try to ask it, and they be like, what are you talking about? And I'd be like, man, say what you're supposed to say, but they don't know what to say. You know what I'm saying? And but that comes from reading and studying. You know what I'm saying? But Man, I'm trying to get on your team, bro. I'm gonna log into the trust train. Um, I I seen your Facebook when it started. I didn't know if it was really you. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to connect with you or get you or send you an email because, I'm trying to be a part of the team heavy.
Well, just connect with me or speak with me. Everybody go directly to the website. Monday through Friday from 9 to 10 p.m. We have a chat box there with customer service. That's where you leave your messages. I'm not taking emails or anything like that anymore. Just go right over there and leave a message and I'll get it. I'll get it right from the website, all
No
right?
problem. No problem. We'll do so. Thank you, brother.
Okay, appreciate you, bro. Appreciate it. All right.
Peace to the God.
Peace to the gods. I love that. I love that, brother. He had some successes. They were sharing. That's always, I get a lot of people that tell me they have successes. I just don't parade them in front of you. Look at this person right here. He had success using my process. I don't do that. I know that what I'm saying is true, so I don't have a need to, and I know it's going to resonate with the right individuals because everybody gets in trouble, and everybody gonna figure out that the attorney ain't gonna help you at one point. There's no need to try to get people to convince me. There's gonna be people get in trouble continuously. There's gonna be people try to get an attorney. They're gonna figure out that nigga ain't gonna do shit for them, and they're gonna listen to me. Let's go to area code Alabama 205. Alabama, you're on the line. What's happening?
Hi, Yusuf. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Peace to the gods and goddesses.
Peace to the gods.
So
How you doing?
Thank you, sir. Doing very well. I am so new to this, but I was referred to your SPC University like a year ago. And so I was referred because I trade the markets, and the person that taught me how to trade was like, okay, now you have to get into trust and protect your money. And so from there, I started going down the rabbit hole and really looking at just everything SBC was offering. So I have sent off for my long form birth certificate.
Right.
And I'm reading over my UCC to file the UCC 1.
Right.
And then I'm really nervous because I do have a court case coming up where I have to go and stand on my square. And I'm just going to have to just keep reading and make sure I'm prepared. But I just want to say thank you for what you're providing. So far, like, after I found you, definitely I was, like, looking other places. And I will say this is the most consistent. And even my mentor told me that. He was like, I referred you to him because this is the most solid information that you're going to find for what you're trying to do. So just wanted to just give you your props on that. And also ask if you have any tips for, like, when I go before the judge. It's a simple case. A debt collector is trying to sue me for a debt, but like my mentor told me, I just have to I sent them a validation request in which they have failed to answer. And so my mentor was like, when you stand on your square, you just need to just keep saying, okay, they need to validate the debt. And they have not done so. Do you have any other tips that?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just scared to.
No, you're right. I mean, that's a very, very good question. All right, let me give you some advice. Okay, first of all, number one, all debts have to be sworn to. I want you to remember that. All debts have to be sworn to. One of the things that they try to do to evade liability, first of all, debt collectors, 85%, they have an 85% success rate because the majority of people don't show up, don't answer letters, and they get default judgments. So it's a very lucrative field for them to get into because so many people just default. And a default judgment is the easiest judgment to win. So nobody ever challenges them. They start getting debt collector letters in the mail and they just don't answer them or they ignore them or something like that until eventually they get taken to court. They don't show up in court and then they get a default judgment. So when you read 15 USC 1692G, all right, let's read this for you. It's called 15 USC 1692G.
1692G. Okay.
That's the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, validation of debts. All right. So in B, the disputed debt part, this is what we want to concentrate on. This is also what you're going to use in court when you go to court. All right. It says, if the consumer notifies the debt collector in writing within the 30-day period described in subsection A, because usually they send you a dunning letter saying that within 30 days you have to answer this letter, or it's going to be presumed that the debt is valid. All right. So that the debt or any portion thereof is disputed, or that the consumer requests the name and address of the original creditor, the debt collector shall cease collection of the debt or any disputed portion thereof until the debt collector obtains verification of the debt or a copy of a judgment or the name and address of the original creditor and a copy of such verification or judgment or name and address of the original creditor is mailed to the consumer by the debt collector. Now, the term that we are concentrated on is the term verification. So let's look up the word verification in a Black's Law Dictionary. I have my new Brian Garner, what one is this? The 12th edition. This is the 12th edition. I got 11th edition over there, but I just got this. This is the new 12th edition Black's Law Dictionary. So let's go to the word verification. Verification.
Okay. I have my Barron's Law Dictionary. I went a little cheap. I'm going to have to buy black.
Yeah, verification. All right. So we go to the word verification. What does the word verification mean? I have to know what this word means because I see it in this statute. They say that the debt, it's under validation of debt, but the word there they use is verification. All right, so is verification the same thing as valid? Is it? Let's see. And here we go, right? Here, verification. On page 1879 in the Black's Law 12th edition, since one, a formal declaration made in the presence of an authorized officer such as a notary public, or in some jurisdictions, under oath, but not in the presence of such an officer, whereby one swears to the truth of the statements in the document. Traditionally, a verification is used as a conclusion for all pleadings that are required to be sworn to. Since two, an oath or affirmation that an authorized officer administers to an affiant, loosely acknowledgement, certified copy, any act of notarizing. All right, so we get all those different senses of the word verification. Now, as I said, when you go to court, for something to constitute evidence, it has to be sworn to under penalty of perjury. That's whether you're talking about a deposition, whether you go in court and take the stand and testify. You got to make sure when you go into the courtroom that they have you sworn in. Sometimes the courts like to trick pro se litigants by not swearing them in, and you come in there and just start talking and you're not sworn in, so everything you just said is hearsay. If it is not sworn in, it's hearsay. So this debt collector doesn't have firsthand knowledge of anything. So number one, you're not going to let him talk. Every time he tries to talk, you're going to say, objection, Your Honor, hearsay. Objection, Your Honor, hearsay. Objection, Your Honor, hearsay. Objection, Your Honor, hearsay. Because he don't have any witnesses. He wasn't there when you entered into the agreement, the original agreement. He's a third-party debt collector. He doesn't know anything. Also, you have him sworn in. Okay, Your Honor, I request that an honorable judge have the plaintiff swear under penalty of perjury that he is indeed a creditor of mine, that I have a contract with him that obligates me to some sort of performance to him. The whole key is to get them to swear to something. Now, there is an individual, his name is Tom Shaft. He came out with a very, very good book. It's called The Banker's Secret Manual. Okay, in that book, in the back of that book, you have questions to ask attorneys. Is this on a credit card debt? Did you hear me?
Oh, okay. Your phone kind of went out a little bit, so that last part I didn't hear.
I was saying, is this some sort of, what kind of debt is this?
Oh, okay. So this one is an old credit card.
Okay, so it's a credit, so it's an unsecured debt. All right. So,
Correct.
all right.
Correct.
So, all right. So the thing you want to do, okay, he's a third party debt collector. He doesn't have a right to collect anything, nothing. These are some of the easiest cases to win. If you get Tom Shaw's book, and I'm gonna put it in the chat right now. It's called the Top Secret Banker's Manual. I'm putting it in the chat. Y'all can click on the link in the chat and go over there and open up that Banker's Top Secret Manual. And we're going to go to the back of it. You should read the entire thing. It's a very interesting reading. We're talking about generally accepted accounting principles and things like that for mortgages. What he does is he has very good letters to the bank, and he always sends them an affidavit to sign. He always sends them an affidavit. Both parties have to swear in. So he signs an affidavit and he sends one to them. He has a notice of adequate assurance. And let's read this real quick, what he said. He said, alleged credit card number, this debt is disputed. Before I pay, I want to know the details of what the entire agreement is and if you performed according to the agreement. Dear officers and or agents for the lender, it has come to my attention of the alleged borrower after consulting with the borrower's CPA and researching the United States Code, the corresponding code of federal regulations, the Uniform Commercial Code, and certain Federal Reserve Bank publications, that there is reason to believe that the alleged lender is not the holder in due course of the borrower's promissory note and or may have breached the agreement concerning the above referenced alleged loan or of credit. Since the borrower paid money in the form of a promissory note to the lender to perform according to a loan agreement, the borrower is now hereby requesting an adequate assurance of due performance pursuant to UCC 2-609. Now, 2-609, you had to find your state statute. All 50 states have codified the Uniform Commercial Code. For instance, UCC 2-609 in Georgia is UCC 11-2-609. In California, it is UCC 2609. But they all have that 2609 somewhere within the convention of their codification. Okay? So
Okay.
I'm not going to read this entire thing, but what I want to impress upon your mind is that it has to be verified, means it has to be sworn to. A debt is not valid unless it's been sworn to. It's not valid until it's been sworn to.
Interesting.
So
With the papers that they served me,
I'm sorry?
I was saying, excuse me for interrupting. When they served me their papers, they have an affidavit of one of their employees, and I find that so interesting. But like my mentor said, he said, "Okay, first question is still, did they ever validate your verification request?" And I said, "No, they sent me a letter back saying that they received it and didn't understand what I was asking." He said, "Oh, you got them." He said, "Because they acknowledged that they received it."
They did acknowledge that they received it. He's absolutely correct. They are obligated to respond to it, and now they're taking you to court and they haven't responded to it. You're going to have that as Exhibit A when you come into the courtroom. Okay, you need to put in your answer. Okay, and your answer is, you do a counterclaim against them. You ask for damages. You do a counterclaim against them. If it's permitted in your state, you do a counterclaim where you're asking for 3 times the amount of money that they're trying to get from you as damages.
Okay.
And why are you doing that? They didn't made you come to court. All right. Every second you're getting closer to death. How much per hour is your time worth?
My time is worth $50 to $100 an hour.
Okay, I get about $500 an hour for my time. All right. So you got $50 to $100 an hour. All right. So you got to leave, stop what you're doing, go down to that court, sit and wait, do all of this type of stuff right here. Nah, you taking every second I'm getting closer to death. You wasting my time with this illegitimate claim that you have. Every second I'm getting closer to death. You taking time out of my life. So I'm
Correct.
counterclaiming you.
Correct.
That's how you stop them. And as far as an employee signing an affidavit, that's just a throw off. Does that employee have firsthand knowledge is the question. I don't care. What they will do is they'll fill out an affidavit attesting under penalty of perjury to their administrative process that they sent you a Dunning letter and all of that. But they weren't there when you first entered into the contractual agreement for the credit card.
Okay, understood. So basically, make sure that they swear me in, and also I need to object to their hearsay.
And
I just
also,
need to stick to that.
Also, you need to make sure that when you say objection, that you make sure that the judge says sustained or overruled. Because judges, sometimes they won't say sustained or overruled. They'll do what's called an equivocal ruling and start talking to you. All right. You also need to make sure you have a court reporter there. You get the court reporter before you go in there. There are plenty of court reporters all over the city. You can look in on the internet, look one up, and tell them you need a court reporter on such and such a date. They usually charge about $50 an hour, but they prorate it. So what that means is if you only use 30 minutes, it's $25. Okay? Find out what their rate is. The reason you want a transcript, because you let them know that if any funny stuff goes on, you're going to take it to the appellate court. And when you say objection, if the judge does not say sustained or overruled, you wait patiently. And as soon as the judge gets through talking and it's your turn to talk again, you tell the judge, I take exception to your refusal to rule on my objection. Would you please enter sustained or overruled into the record so I can preserve the error? All right? Because it is reversible error for an judge to allow hearsay evidence into the record over your objection. He's required to go and bring back witnesses or attest on. What you're going to find out is none of them want to sign an affidavit. They don't want to swear to nothing.
Right.
No, they don't want to swear to nothing.
In the first place.
Right.
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
Now, if they come to you and say, is this your signature on this document? You don't ever say yes, that this is my signature. You don't say yes or no. You do an affirmative defense. And say, that looks like a pretty good forgery. Do you have the original signed contractual agreement for my personal inspection so I can ascertain the veracity and validity of the document that you're attempting to proffer in the evidence on the record? All right? You don't ever say, yes, that's my signature. Anybody can Photoshop anybody's signature. I don't have to, on the record, say that a copy of my signature is my signature. If I challenge the copy, they have to account for the original. The burden of proof is on he who asserts, not he who denies. The burden of proof is not on you. They got to prove it. And make them do that. Make them sign an affidavit and make them produce evidence, which they can't do. It's some fly-by-night law firm or some trash law firm trying to make some money off debt collection. Probably some one-man show.
Correct.
Buying up old debt and trying to collect on it.
Right. Well, this will be my first time. So like my mentor told me, well, this will get your feet wet with a little experience standing up for yourself in court. And then, like you said, he's on me because he's like, okay, you are way past due for filing your UCC-1. So I finally, he was like, you got to get past this fear. So I finally sent off for my birth certificates, and I'm waiting on those to come back from Illinois. And then we'll start, he's going to help. Well, your site is helping me too, but the bond process.
Well, no, that's fine. That's fine. If you got a mentor, it seems like he's very competent. And from everything what you're saying to me. So yeah, it's quite fine. And he's right. There's nothing to be afraid of. But I do understand that, you want to understand what you're doing. One of the easiest ways to understand what you're doing is just read all the documents and look up all the definition of all the words you don't know the meaning of. That's how I learned.
Right. And that's why he put me on to you. Because like he told me, I can only take you so far. You got to follow this guy. And, like you said, I'm not willing to hold your hand in this. I'm willing to point you in the direction, but you've got to follow this guy. You've got to read. And he said, I'm like 20 years behind. He started this journey 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at him like 20 years behind.
I started about
That's
20.
scary.
Yeah, I started over 20 some years ago as well. So yeah, he's right about that. But you got to, you have to read. You're not going to get around that. But more importantly, you got to look up the definition of words. One of the things that you have to make, you have to tell yourself, I will not allow myself to pass any word I don't know the definition of. And it is good to be paranoid of even the words you do think you know the definition of, because legal terms have a different meaning than in everyday parlance. So when you get, you need to get a Black's Law Dictionary, and you'll start to get the sense of what words, like the word may. Like may in regular language means you might have an option, but in the legal arena, it means must. You have to do it. So,
Really?
so
I did
that's
not
right
know
there.
that.
That's just a simple example of how people can get thrown off because they think they know the meaning of a word and they don't. So you have to, for all beginners, it is good for you to be paranoid of words when you're reading legal documents. I went back and I started looking up the definition of, the, or studying my grammar. I started all the way back down to the very beginning and just started looking up words.
Okay.
You can really enjoy, just sitting, laying up in the bed and just reading the Black's Law Dictionary. They are so interesting to me. It's very interesting.
I think what really hurts, I don't know about other people, when you have a job and they keep you so like brainwashed, focused on their work and making money for a company, it takes away from by the time you're done, your brain is just tired. So that's where the trading comes in. So I'm trying to basically be a full-time trader, make my own money for me, and then protect the money at the same time.
I get
and like
it.
he told me, none of this is going to be easy. So he's like, you still got the same 24. You got to really push it. So I think you're right. Sometime at night, I'll just have to read some of the and he got at me. I got the Barron's Law book. And he was like, I didn't tell you to get that. I told you to get Blacks.
Yeah.
But this one was cheaper. So I got to go back to get a Black.
Listen, let me say this. It's good to have a library of books. I have a library. Everybody should have a library in their home. You should have encyclopedias, and every home should have encyclopedias and dictionaries in their home. And so a reference library is what it's called, or a good reference library in your home. I have all of the Black's Law dictionaries, all 12 of them. And, I got them from different places. Like I went to used bookstores. They used to have this used bookstore in California. Half of my Black's Law dictionaries I bought for like $10. From there, you can always find a 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th edition in some used bookstore. I go to them all the time. Even in Goodwills, I got a lot of dictionaries out of Goodwill. Estate sales, all kind of places. But definitely want a good dictionary, because this is a game of words, and you got to be very proficient in your use of words in the legal arena.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate the explanation, and just keep up the work. We really do appreciate you. Have a good night.
I appreciate you too, sis. Thank you so much. All right. Okay. Where are we at now? Let's dip over to Illinois. Let's go to Illinois. 630 area code. Illinois, you're on the line. What's on your mind? Illinois. 630 area code.
Peace to the God. Peace to the God. Is this me?
Hey, yep, you on the air. How you doing, bro?
Man, brother Lewis, my name is Optimatic, brother. Abdul Malik, Optimatic. I'm doing well. How about you, my brother?
I'm doing great. What you got for me?
Man, it's an honor to just be conversating with you. I listen to so many of your videos, and I've learned so much from joining the organization. But I really haven't had much court things. I just,
let me get off the speaker, just go in and learn. But I am in a situation from what the sister just went through. I'm in a not a debt consolidation, some trying to get these business loans, and I went through some people to learn a courier business, and they turned me on to some people who do debt consolidation. What do you call it? Clean up your debt and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. This was before the last video where you brought the book in that your Corey did, and you gave that information out. But it was only part of that video. Someone in the comments said it was more video. So I wanted to ask, where's the rest of that? And you kind of alluded to you're going to spend a lot of money if you try to go that route. And I don't know if they're, messing around, but they're saying every month we have to do this and we have to do that. What is your, because, Trump removed some medical bills. It's too much to get into, but I had a divorce and then I had a stroke and some other things, lost everything, and I'm rebuilding it. But Trump took it off. Federal court just put it back on. I'm sure you're aware of that. And I don't know which way to proceed. Should I do that with these people, keep moving like that, or should, are they messing around?
Okay, let me see if I understand what you're asking me. Are you trying to clear a credit report? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, sir. Clear up the credit report, and they're doing it on the auspices that they will help fund this company that I'm trying to launch, or I'm attempting to launch.
Okay, so you're trying to clear your credit report, and the debt, is it a federal debt or just a regular debt?
Two, it's a medical and fortunately eviction, and that's it.
Okay, now I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a credit repair guy. I'm not a credit repair guy. However, there are methods. You have to go to somebody on credit repair. What I would advise you to do, because we're talking about status correction, is get you a CPN number. Mm-hmm. Get you a CPN number, and open you up a new credit file. Yes. And for anyone who wants to try to say that's illegal, that's bullshit.
And I'm sorry if you can hear me. Everything is going. I don't know if anybody else is experiencing it. I've heard it like 2 or 3 times.
Well, you can't. Wait a minute. Hold on. You can't hear me. You can't hear me.
Okay, I can hear you now. Yes, sir.
Okay, you hear me? Okay.
Yes, sir. I hear you now. You said the CPN was the last thing, and
okay. Yeah, what I was saying is, get you a CPN number because, let me just clarify some things for everyone. The reason I wanted you to read Corey's book, because a lot of people, he done pissed off a lot of people. I know, I understand. Trust me, I understand that. However, the book, it opened my eyes and made me realize who the credit bureaus were. Because I thought, like many of you do, that they were some sort of federal agency or something like that. And they're not that. You could have started a credit bureau. All right? They are not a public entity. They are a private corporation, family-owned business, and they don't have any, they just data collection mining companies. That's all they are. Mm-hmm. And they go all through the public records and find information on people, and then they sell the information to subscribers, which are banks, other institutions, credit card companies, auto dealerships, everybody like that. All right, so I don't have any, that's not my lane, as far as cleaning up credit. I don't clean credit.
Right.
What I would suggest that you do in the first place, because if you got that credit file connected to your social security number, that is an issue that I would say that I would address first. And I would get me a CPN number, and I would do it properly. That means that you're not going to use some baby's social security number. You're not going to use somebody in prison's social security number or anything like that. That's when you get into this identity theft that on the internet these attorneys are trying to allude to when they're saying you're doing something illegally. Because when this first jumped off, a lot of y'all don't remember this. Y'all probably not old enough or to remember it. Is when this CPN and changing identity thing occurred. What people were doing in the early days is that they would use, if they wanted a new identity to get a driver's license in somebody else's name, they would either do one or two things. They would get a birth record of a baby that has died, or they would get some information from somebody who's in prison, and get their information. And they would establish a new identity for themselves, all right, and get a new credit file and things like that. The vestige of that is a lot of what these people are talking about illegal, all right? The real way to create a CPN number is, number one, you're going to go to a website called SSN Validator. There's a lot of them out there. And you always start there first, because people, they go through all these different numbers. You want to make sure that your number is clean. In other words, you want to make sure that it has never been issued to anyone. So usually when you're paying somebody for a CPN, that's what the money is going to. Some of it is that they, first of all, got to find you a good number. That's if you're dealing with somebody who's really good with it. You do have people that'll sell the same number to 50 different people. You got dirt bags like that. They'll sell the same number to a multitude of different people. The safest route to go is to create the number yourself. And a lot of people, what they will do is they'll study the convention of Social Security numbers. They'll go to the Social Security website, and it explains what the 3 different sets of numbers on the Social Security card represent. Like the first 3 digits represent the state you were born, okay? And so you might want your CPN to at least fall within that category, all right? Because those first 3 digits are indicative of when you what state you were born in. And then, or you can alleviate all that and just incorporate your name and get a tax identification number on your name and then use that, all right? Those are 2 of your options that you can do, because your first step is to ensure that you can't be found guilty of identity theft or any type of fraud. The next, you want to give a heads up that you're using a tax identity number and not a Social Security number. All right, you can put TIN on the application next to the number or something to that effect, all right, to give them a notice of what it is that you're doing. Because there is no law that says you are required to have a Social Security numbers weren't even meant for identification. Not at all. Y'all just gave these people your information. Y'all wasn't supposed to be giving these people your Social Security number. They just normalized it. That's what you're looking at today in modern times, that so many people have done it for so long, it's normalized. All right, so that would be my advice. I'm not a credit repair guy. You know, there are people that are very good at that. However, and if you want to do that, you can do that route, or you can take the route of getting a CPN number, which is a credit privacy number, and starting all over with that. You know, just, you know, I'm a proponent of using a CPN because number one, when you clean your credit, or you start with a blank credit file, you got to have discipline to build up credit to a very high level. So I always suggest that people get a secured credit card and start out with $500 and build that up to $20,000. And the first thing you have to do with credit cards is you got to get in the habit of looking at a credit card as a debit card. You treat it, in other words, every time I spend on it, I ain't spending nothing in my bank account. I instantly transfer money from my bank account to pay on my credit cards at least every 3 days. The first 2 years that you're building credit, you should be paying off that credit card every 3 days. It should always stay at a zero balance. This is going to elevate your credit utilization, which is what credit card companies love to see. All right. Then after 6 months, they're going to give you your money back, your deposit, and you're going to ask for a $1,500 increase or $2,000, whatever you feel comfortable with. That is an algorithm in the computer. And if you've been doing that correct, the first 6 months, it's going to automatically increase that. Probably around 8, 9, 10 months, you're going to start receiving a lot of credit card offers. You're going to accept every credit card offer, especially if you've been pre-approved. You're going to accept that, and you're going to start building your credit card empire up. You're only going to apply for no more than 3 credit cards every 3 months. Now, you can't do that with Chase, because with Chase, they don't want to see you make 3 applications within 2 years. All right, so that might be the last. That's going to be the last people you're going to apply for, or you may want to open up a bank account with Chase, and then, because that's what you really want to do. You want whatever bank you're banking with, you want to start with their credit cards first, because you're a customer of theirs. They have a relationship with you. They're going to be more open to give you all of that. So once you get one credit card with them and you show them that you are paying on it consistently, they'll start giving you some more. And Bank of America is good for that. Wells Fargo, Chase, they're good, but they got some very stringent requirements. But they're good too. But that's would be my suggestion. If you start like that, either one of those two options.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. Yeah, now I got the paper trip and went to Eden's Press after I watched that video. And then right after that, I ran into that poem you dropped. Man, brother, that was that was one for the ages. Yeah, I was sitting here like, wow. And the last thing, brother, I don't want to take up too much time. Can I make one request?
Yes, go ahead.
Check this out. When you was on the video recently, and I'm joining the SBU University, but when you was on the video, it's like you be in the zone. You just go into a thing. You start breaking down the 7 aspects of men, or how men are developed, from the being to the different things. And throughout all the years and different videos you do, periodically you start dropping some heavy metaphysical principles, like from the Master Key. I read that. I went through Kevin Trudeau's stuff, the same as you did. Now, can you do more of that stuff, brother? Because, man, the way you explain things is, you explain better than Kevin Trudeau did, and you were just breaking the teachability index one day, and I was like, he did it better than Kevin did. You was just doing it like, off the cuff, just to make a point. So,
Yeah.
I was just wanting to humbly ask that,
Okay. I got it.
Yeah,
I got it. The reason that I explain it so well is because I know the 7 principles from the Kabbalion. The Kabbalion is what I'm always giving credit to, because it is the thing that underlies all these law of attraction. I don't care who they are. I don't care if it's Esther Hicks. I don't care if it's Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill or Kevin Trudeau's, Your Wish is Your Command. I don't care whatever it is, The Secret, whatever it is. All right. Those 7 principles are the guides for it. Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. So once you understand those principles, then when you listen to these guys talk, you can basically, you can kind of evaluate and tell how well they have mastered the information. Like, I give Kevin Trudeau a lot of credit, just because in listening to him, and he talks about the Illuminati and the Brotherhood and things like that. Well, the Kabbalion, the copy I got, comes from the Masonic Temple in Chicago, Illinois. So, and also I have a book from the Rosicrucians. They also use it. There's a book called, a Rosicrucian wrote, called The Science of Love. If you turn to the back of that book, you're going to see he has the 7 principles back there. It's even in the Bible. So this is what they mean when they say seek wisdom first. The wisdom is when you understand the keys that give you the keys to everything. So everything begins with the mind, and it corresponds to a vibrational frequency that manifests on earth that has 2 sides, has a rhythm associated with it, a masculine and feminine characteristic, which causes a cause and effect by its application. So all those things, so once you learn those principles, you can explain everything. There was this book by this man named France Barden. It's called The Initiation into Hermetics. Another good book y'all may want to write down. This is only for people who are deeply into esoteric studies. It's not for the average person out there, just a weekend warrior.
Yeah.
In there, France was very, very renowned for his magical capabilities, and he has a following. And I was introduced to his information over 20 years ago. And in reading it, you will see the principles in there as well. He's going to give you a good explanation. He goes deeper and delves deeper into some things. And the thing he said was, when you master the principles, you can have a conversation with anybody, especially about religion. And I found that to be true. It just opened my eyes to everything. When I gave the 7 levels of man, those are your degrees of development. We have, every man has 7 levels, and he begins at a beast level. All right. When he doesn't, the beast man. In the Bible, when they talk about the beast, They're talking about these cavemen-like people. All right? There aren't civilized. And I've seen beast men in jail. You know, I've been in jail and a female guard walked by and guys will whip out their penis and start masturbating. Three of them, they'll be standing right next to each other and just whip out their penis and start masturbating right there in front of the female guard. Okay, y'all don't know some of the stuff you'll see, how in jail people will descend down to a beast-like man. There's a beast-like man fighting, eating anything. You know, a beast man will eat anything, put anything in his body. A beast man will have sex with anything. You know, all they do is eat, sleep, and reproduce. They don't have any values. They think it's cool and it's okay, but they really act like animals. They act like animals. So you got that first level of beast man. Then you got this thing called mankind, which is a kind of a man. He's not quite a man, but he's a kind of a man. And then you got this man called man. And then you have human. And then you have human being. And then you have a being or supreme being. And then you have a God. And a God, that's not saying that you are the creator of the boundless universe. When somebody is calling themselves a God, or I say peace to the gods, what I'm speaking to is the potential inside of you. In other words, everybody has this capability. God said, I put my spirit into man and he became a living soul. So if you possess the same spirit of God, that means that you're like a teaspoon out of the ocean, same in quality, different in degree. So when we talk about the creator of the boundless universe, he has no limitations, but you do have a limitation. This is why everybody says anything you can conceive and believe, you can achieve. Your limitation is your ability to conceptualize things and to hold that picture in your mind. Because if I tell you to think of a color that doesn't exist, all right, you can't do that. And that right there is how you identify your limitation. Your limitation is your imagination. Your imagination is a composite of things you have experienced. Okay? So you are a limited creature. I love how it's stated in the Quran Circle 7, where it says the finite cannot circumscribe the infinite. All right? So you're a finite being subject to a world where a cause and effect, where everything has a beginning and an end. Everything is in a constant state of flux. All right. So, but even with that limitation, your potential is incredibly huge of what you can do. So there's a mechanics of the mind, and that's why I direct you to someone like, Kevin Trudeau, who talks about the 4 levels of mastery. Which unconscious incompetence, and then unconscious competence, and then conscious competence, and then unconscious competence. Yeah, unconscious competence is the last stage. Unconscious competence is the last stage, because once you reach that stage, that's a stage of mastery. That's when it's firmly rooted in the subconscious and you don't have to think about it. That's where you got to get with anything that you do. You got to get to the point where it's so rooted in the subconscious mind, you just access it normally. That's why people can play the piano and have a conversation with you. The piano is being played by the subconscious mind. It's no longer the conscious mind is being free. When you heard me say that poem, all right, that poem is the result of me saying it so many times that it's in the subconscious mind. Now I'm free to ad lib and add different flavors to it without having to think about it.
Okay.
So anything you do to reach a level of, my man Robert Greene, who wrote the 48 Laws of Power, he has an audio called Mastery. That's a good audio to listen to. Or the book. I have the book and I listen to the audio. It's called Mastery. So there's 4 levels of mastery. Unconscious incompetence, and then there's conscious incompetence, where the conscious mind knows the information, but is not impressed on the subconscious mind. And then you have conscious competence.
It's breaking up, bro.
It's breaking up? All right, let me see if I'm breaking up. I don't know why is, did I hit something? I'm trying to see if I hit something on my computer. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear better now. Thank you.
All right, okay. Let me see if it's this thing right here. All right.
Now I'm gonna hang up, Brother Yusuf, so you can continue with the show because it's breaking up. It was doing it with the sister too and before, and you dropped. It's probably too much energy and too much. You
All
got too much stuff
right.
going.
All
But
right.
God bless. And last day, I'm a Muslim, and we don't like that whole, and you know the Quran. I've heard you, but we don't deal with the whole God thing. But I do with you because when you explain, I'm not talking about the God of the balanced universe. I say he got it.
Yeah, I'm
You've
not
been
talking
blessed,
about
brother. May
that.
God keep you here with us. Yes, sir. And we are God in that matter. So I'm right there with you. And man, may God continue to God bless you, protect you, and thank you for being the warrior you are and giving us this insight, brother.
I thank you, brother, also. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. He brings up an interesting point. Everybody, when they hear this word God, uh, it's amazing to me the amount of people who, when they hear that word, they don't understand what you're talking about. They start, hold on, I'm trying to, man, where's this thing at, man? This thing at? Let me close this thing out. Hold on. When you hear this word God, I'm trying to make sure I can hear myself because everybody's saying I'm breaking up, so I'm trying to monitor trying to log in and listen to myself on the internet. Oh, here it is right here. Okay. All right, cool. I got it right here. All right, cool. It's good. All right. When you hear this word God, okay, let me educate all of you on something one more time. The word God is not the original word in the Bible. Okay, the word God is of German origin. It comes from the word Gott or Gott, which means good. Okay, when you take good and take away a O, you get God. You take evil and add a D, you get devil. So he took the concepts of good and evil and made God and the devil. All right? So those words don't exist in the original language. Like my man, he's a Muslim. They call the devil Shaitan, Iblis, Beelzebub, Mephistopheles. You got all these are different demons and things like that. But these all have a parallel in other cultures throughout history, going all the way back to ancient Egypt as well as Samaria. So this God, okay, these gods in the garden that are walking in the garden and asking Adam, where are you? Who told you that? Have you done what I told you not to do? And then start cussing them out and then kick out. Supposedly they kicked out this snake. They just cussed him out, told him, everybody say that's the devil that was in the garden, even though later in Job, he's up in heaven making a bet with God. All these different things. I just try to get you to open up your mind and to understand that the true spirituality is studying nature. The only evidence that you have of God is nature, because nature has immutable laws. They're not a respecter of person. That's the evidence of God in the study of nature. So the Kabbalion is basically just telling you the laws of nature, and then in learning those laws, learning how to use them to get the laws of nature to bend to your will. Like in esoteric circles, there's a saying, the only way to defeat nature is to obey her. So these natural laws is what everybody uses on the upper level. The lower level people don't use it. All the upper level people use them in some degree. You are broke not because the white man is kicking you in your ass, or it's systematic racism. You going out there begging for jobs and they won't give you a job. That's not the reason you're unsuccessful. You're unsuccessful because you haven't learned how to think. You haven't learned the mechanics of the mind. You haven't learned how to use what is called constructive thought. Let's go to area code Wisconsin. Wisconsin, you're on the line.
Oh, thanks so much for taking my call. You're amazing.
Thank you.
If you're going into court, does it really matter if you, because I presented my change of status motion as an exhibit, and it's pretty much by the court.
Okay, I'm trying to make sure I understand your question. You went into court and you put in a what?
My does it matter if I've officially come back to the land and soil of I'm not in admiralty or maritime jurisdiction?
Listen, it's too
part of the-
late. Yeah, that's a challenge. Okay, what you're trying to do is a challenge of jurisdiction. All right, that's all you're doing is challenging the jurisdiction. And one of the things you do when you challenge jurisdiction, you don't make conclusions of law. Okay, when you go into court, you are there to ask questions because the burden of proof is not on you, the burden of proof is on them. All right, so I don't need to assert anything or do anything. What I have to learn how to do is ask proper questions. Okay, so one of the questions that we always like to ask, you talking about you want to go to the land and not on the seas. First of all, I don't think that's a good argument in the first place because you've already been operating in admiralty. If you are an acceptor of benefits and privileges, the Ashwander rules are not going to allow you to come in and say, well, you don't have jurisdiction over me because you've already established a minimum contact and jurisdiction is not relinquished until at the end of the suit. All right, so y'all not going to get them to drop it. So that's just a waste of time. If people would go to the law library and study the things I say, they would know these. The best option for you to do is using either some sort of affirmative defense or something to that effect, or come in and asking them questions. Like, I don't know, what kind of matters is this criminal or civil matter we're talking about?
Unlimited civil.
What it has to do some sort of debt collection or something like that?
The creep who's suing me is my ex-accountant, and
okay.
yeah, I found out he was money laundering through my corporation.
Well, he definitely got,
yeah,
they definitely got jurisdiction because you got a corporation. So let's not go in there using that defense. All right, we're talking about commercial matters, and that's well within their purview. Okay, now if somebody is suing you, I don't know the merits. I don't know the facts surrounding the case, but if you're going to establish some type of defense, you got to make them swear under penalty of perjury, and you need to establish some sort of defense. I guess I probably would get an attorney for something like that. But being honest with you,
yeah, I had one threw me under the bus. He didn't serve one financial subpoena, nothing. It was crazy. So I took over the case. The judge allowed me to take over the case for the corporation and myself. So I don't know why.
Wait a minute, the judge allowed you to represent a corporation?
Yep.
That's usually unheard of. They patently refuse to allow you to represent a corporation. Only attorneys can do that. They don't usually allow you to do that. But
I know. I
have
a notary that I literally have a notary. I did what you said, get a notary, and I did. And they're with me for hearings and everything. And
well, if you're trying if you're trying to subpoena documents, do you know what a subpoena ducis tecum is?
Yes, I have those all ready for any individuals or anybody that I'm unable to get a subpoena issued to prior to trial. Then I'll do a subpoena ducis tecum for them to show up at the hearing, at the trial with their documents. But
hey, real quick, I want to say this. If you're an attorney out there watching, what I want to say to you is the only reason I'm able to exist is because everybody goes to you first, and they all have the same story. You threw them under the bus. You took their money and didn't do anything for them. You took their money and all you did is offer them a plea deal. That's what you're doing. Everybody's starting to see the game, man. Why don't y'all do some actual work and earn your money? So that's the thing. Get these people paperwork coming to me. This is your job. What you supposed to be doing, representing your client.
Amen.
But they not doing it. I know you're telling the truth because I hear the same. I went through it and I just see over and over so many. Man, I have so much business. Let me tell you something. I can do 3 or 4 consultations a day at $500 an hour. Every day, 365 days a year if I want to. That's how many people want to talk to me about issues and things that you should be dealing with. All right. But they already know they ain't gonna get any resolution dealing with you. It's not gonna happen. Y'all got a little procedure. Y'all gonna try to get their money and do as little as possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's the game.
Well, they're not going to. They don't make any money when they solve problems.
They don't make any money. They got to keep a problem going. So you go in there and you issue your subpoenas. I'm really not sure what the merits of the case are. Maybe you want to schedule a consultation and talk to me offline if you don't want to talk about your case. But if they're suing you, the burden of proof is on them. That means I'm going to ask a lot of questions. I'm going to be asking a lot of questions in court. You don't have jurisdiction over me arguments, and we're talking about corporate matters. It's a corporation that you're representing. There's no way you can say they don't have jurisdiction. They absolutely have jurisdiction over that matter. So you're going to have to use the traditional way of defending this. There's no private process you're going to be utilizing on this. That's all I can tell you on that. This is not a private matter. This is definitely well within the realm of the public. So you're going to be using some sort of statutory defense or, some just questions. Once again, I don't know what they're suing you. What are they suing you for? It's saying it's some money got took or something. What is it about?
It was a friend who agreed to help me run a business. And when I refused to marry him, he, 3 days short of statute of limitations running out, he hit me with a lawsuit.
Okay, yeah, that happens. Yeah, that happens.
I have witnesses that no, he doesn't. And like I said, once I started delving into this, I've discovered he was laundering money through my corporation. And I also found I have an amicus brief from a similar case that he was involved in, where they turned him into the SEC, and the accountancy board had the open investigation against him, and the quote unquote several regulatory authorities are investigating him. I have a trial brief from another case where he settled out of court, where he did similar activities that he was doing with my corporation, only mine was a small business. That other corporation was a publicly traded company. One time he wired 1.2.
So your argument is going to be course of conduct bent of mind. In other words, you have established an evidentiary trail that demonstrates that he does this kind of thing all the time. So you're going to bring all that in. You're going to have it authenticated. You're not going to submit any evidence that's not authenticated. You're going to have all the evidence authenticated or have somebody ready to come and prepared to testify to it and bring that in because what you're trying to do, I guess you're going to try to impeach his testimony and make him not credible on what he's saying. That's
Correct.
What it seems like that's going to be the approach you're trying to use, right?
Yes, and I think I'm going to go on your site and schedule a consult.
Okay. All right, let's do that. All right.
Okay. I appreciate you so much, and literally I bow to you because you're amazing, and I'm jealous that you went to Egypt because I spent 3 days in the Cairo Museum. They almost had to drag me.
Hey, man, listen, I was in Spain, and I looked at the thing, and I said, Egypt only 3 hours away. I said, I don't know when I'm going to be back on this side of the world again. I jumped on the plane and went. So it was the best thing I ever did in my life. It really was. It was great. Huh?
Did you ride the camel?
Rode camels, went out into the desert, Did all of it, man. I stayed probably about 3-4 days in Egypt. I went to Cairo. I went to Luxor. Went to the Valley of the Kings. That was interesting. It was definitely an interesting trip. But my thing I wanted to see was Giza. I wanted to touch it. I went in it. I laid in the king's chamber. Yeah, I went all up in it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for everything that you do for everyone. And I'll go on your site and schedule a consult.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Let's go to, what is this? This is area code. This looks like Louisiana. Up next, 504 area code. Let's dip down to Louisiana.
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Hey, what's going on, bro? How you doing?
I appreciate everything you're doing. I was trying to see how I can donate before this call. I just subscribed to your channel tonight. I've been following you for a little while, but my issue that I have is I had a daughter like 4 years ago, and I found out that I really didn't have to get a birth certificate or a social security card when she was born. I could have applied for a passport for her, but the hospital, when they called her mother, and we explained to them that we didn't want those documentations, they got her information and created a birth certificate for her in a name that we didn't name our daughter. So I'm trying to see how I go about and correcting that so I can get a passport for her.
Okay, let me say this first of all. Everybody, I want y'all to listen what I'm saying. If you go into a public hospital, you don't have a choice of not getting a birth certificate. I've seen them arrest people trying to leave the hospital without trying to give their child a birth certificate. The Social Security card is what is optional. All right? You don't have to get a Social Security number. But if you come into a public hospital, they are going to give you a birth certificate. Now, the birth certificate is not a bad thing, okay? I don't know where this notion that having the birth certificate just evidences that you were born on the United States of American soil, all right, that you're here on this soil. All right, now, they can't monetize it without the Social Security number because there's no account attached to it. So you don't get an account,
Okay.
all right? That's the important thing, not to get the Social Security number. The Social Security number is the evil thing, not the birth certificate, all right? The birth certificate,
Right.
no problem having that. As far as the name, that's a state issue. You need to go down there and see what you need to do as far as correcting the name on the birth certificate. I'm sure they have some sort of a process that they have to make that work. All that is within the public arena, and you'd have to follow whatever steps that they require to get that done.
Okay. All right.
Well, after that, you get a passport. The passport, passport is easy to get. That's not hard. But that's all we're talking. Y'all stop on this. There's people out there telling people not to get birth certificates. That's not good information, all right? If you want to have go ahead.
Is it possible for me to get a passport without the Social Security number?
It used to be, not anymore, because what they're starting to put on all documents. They say if you've ever been issued a Social Security number, you're required to provide it.
Right.
You can't use that old process where you don't give them the Social Security number anymore. However, Fam Guardian, what I like about their process, they have a series of letters that you write them, that you want them to clarify the record on what your position is as relates to your status and the utilization of a Social Security number. So it's all about just giving the public entities notice. Like, yeah, I gave you my social security number, but when I got that number, I wasn't fully informed of the ramifications of the acceptance of this number. I want the record to reflect clearly, okay, that I'm a U.S. national, not a U.S. citizen that falls within the geographical district of 10 Mile Square in Washington, D.C., and all the insular possessions of the federal government. I do not fall in that. I'm not an acceptor of benefit and privileges. You might want to send them an affidavit of tax exempt status or an affidavit of non-corporate existence, just whatever, just put together. It's just about notices. Giving them a social security number ain't the end of the world. It's about how you notify them. It's like, look, okay, yeah, you maybe put my social security number on here, but I'm attaching an addendum, which is a letter explaining the situation and what I want the record to reflect as it relates to my status.
Right. Okay. I got you.
Notice how I
So
give
the
people
birth
their
certificate-
props. I give Fam Guardian their props. I give Copper Moonshine Stills their props. I didn't develop the passport process. It's not my process. I understand it. I read them. I like them because they follow certain principles. The guys at Fam Guardian are very intelligent guys. They understand jurisdiction very well over there. Those guys got some good documents over there on their website. They do. I don't subscribe to their religious beliefs, but even with that, I think they got a pretty good grasp on the Bible and how they apply, because they apply a lot of religion and biblical scriptures into what's going to, because this is spiritual, and they've been around before me. They've been around longer than I have. They've been around longer than they still rolling. So I'm definitely going to give them their props, and they have a very narrowly and fine-tuned understanding. Like they got a document called "What is a U.S. National?" You can probably Google it. Put in Fam Guardian, "What is a U.S. National?" and download that and read that document. Very, 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 very good research. They always have very good research in their documents as well. Very good research.
You said Fam Guardian?
Yeah, FAMGUARDIAN, Fam Guardian. And you got there's another one called the SEDM, Sovereign Defense Ministry. Sovereign Defense, they both been around the same amount of time. They both been around a long ass time. They got good information. They both have very good information. They understand jurisdiction. They understand taxation. They understand public versus private. Yeah, those guys, they legitimate. I give them the thumbs up.
And how do I donate to you?
If you look in the under this video, is there in my description of this video, and you scroll down, you will see I have my Cash App, my PayPal. You can hit me on PayPal, you can hit me on Cash App. It's right there. Just go into the description of the video, and you will see both of those in the description. My PayPal is HFRNGMG, $HFRNGMG. And my PayPal is paypal.me/Yusufale. All right.
Wait, say it again.
Okay, my Cash App is $HFRNGMG. And my PayPal is paypal.me/Yusufale. Y'all can donate at either one of those. But the links are in the description. If you didn't get it, it's already in the description. It's in the description of every video on my site.
Okay, I will look for it and do that. I appreciate you, brother, and I'm thankful for you. Peace to the guys. I hope you stay blessed and safe.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you too.
All right.
All right, let me go to area code 630. Where is that at? Let's dip over to Illinois. Let's drop up top. Illinois, you're on the line. What's on your mind? Hit your mute button, Illinois. 630 area code. You're on the line, Illinois. There you go. I can hear you. Okay, I'm gonna have to come back to you, Illinois. Took too long. All right, let me go over to. Let's dip over to. Let's go up top to New York. New York, New York, big city of dreams, but everything in New York ain't always what it seems. You might get food if you come from out of town, but I'm down by law and I know my way around too much. Too many people, too much. I used to like that song, New
Right.
York. New York, what's happening?
Too much. Too many people.
What's going on?
Peace to the gods. What's up, Yusuf?
What's happening, man? What's going on? What you got for me?
I'm gonna have a couple questions.
Okay.
I like how you said ask questions if I ever went to court.
Right.
Yeah. I'm about to open up a trust account tomorrow. I hope everything goes according to plan.
Okay, do this for me real quick. Can you turn off? Do you have something on in the background?
Yeah, I have the other phone listening to you.
Yeah. Just turn that down for me. Just turn it down for me.
Okay.
Yeah, just turn it down. All right, go ahead.
Because what is echoing on your end?
I just hear it. It's just kind of like distracting. That's all. But go ahead.
Annoying. Yeah, my bad. All right. Did I turn it down?
Yeah, you good. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so other than having the proper documents, or what kind of what documents should I have
For what?
to open a trust account?
The only documents you need to open up a trust, first of all, it depends on the financial institution. This is not uniform. It depends on where you go and what they're requesting. If you come in with a private trust, meaning that you didn't put, it's not a statutory entity, the Secretary of State didn't have anything to do with it, it's a creature of contract, usually it's going to have to go to the legal department. The legal department is going to it's going to probably take about 3 days in the legal department. That the only parts of the document that they need to see is the indenture agreement where you have been empowered to open up a bank account. That should be the indenture agreement, as well as the trust minutes where the trustees had a meeting, which was they had a stenographer there and recorded everything that you agreed to open up this account at this particular bank or whoever has been given the authority to open up the account, the name of the individual and the powers that are bestowed upon him. You got to be specific with that. Sometimes the attorneys, they will try to trick you and try to get you to turn over your entire trust indenture agreement. They don't need the entire trust indenture agreement. They only need the certified portions that empower the trustees, because you got to understand, you're a fiduciary. When you have a trust and you're opening it up, a trustee or a manager, because it's really a manager that goes in there and opens up a bank, not the trustee. The trustee hires a manager through a contract. That individual goes in there and opens up the bank account, and through a contractual agreement, he becomes the signer on the account. This is how you maintain anonymity, meaning that nobody knows who you are also, and you don't come into the public. You have other people to do it for you.
Right. So when I went there, they said that all I need is a certification of trust and my 98 EIN number.
Okay, let's give it to them. Yeah, that's cool. A certification of trust is easy to get. It's easy to get. Put one of those together.
I have it.
Yeah.
I have it in the 98.
And have your EIN number. If that's all they want, give it to them. Don't say nothing else.
Give it to them. Okay. And just on the name of your subject, the status correction for private status.
Yeah.
I filled out like a 92-page for the status correction, and I sent
the 3 notifications of records to West Virginia and some other Indianapolis and another state notification of record. I guess they put that into the system, and then I sent paperwork out to the U.S. Treasury out in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and what else? And I did the UCC 1 and the UCC 3.
Okay, let me tell you what you're doing. I want everybody to listen to me. When you do the secure party process, usually has incorporated in it a status correction aspect to it. All right, because to be a secure party, you have to be private. You have to be coming from the private side. Okay, the first step in status correction, there's none of this stuff is written in stone anywhere. All right, there's no formal instructions anywhere. All right, except the UCC. Under UCC 1-202, you're required to get notices. So the first step in status correction is that you want to sever or you want to rebut this presumption that you and the straw man are one and the same, that you've been amalgamated to this corporate created entity, this all caps name, this ens legis, this legal fiction, this nom de gore, this juristic persona, this straw man, whatever name you want to call it. I'm going to sever that relationship. So I'm going to have something like some type of document. Usually it'll be something like notice of tax exempt status. That's one way of doing it. Or notice of non-corporate existence, an affidavit of non-corporate existence, or just a letter. Basically a letter written where you write them a letter, a 1 page. You don't ever do anything longer than 1 page. If you can't say everything you need to say on 1 page, you're not very good at this. No one is going to sit there and read 20 pages of documents. All right. So if you want to put a cover letter, it essentially says that, I just did one on ChatGPT. Okay, first, what I do with my ChatGPT? This is an affidavit of status. I, Yusuf L, being of lawful age, competent to testify and having firsthand knowledge of the matters set forth herein, do solemnly declare and affirm the following. Okay, I'm a living, breathing man created by Almighty, not a corporate fiction, artificial person, or legal entity. My name is Yusuf L. Any reference to a name rendered in all capital letters refers to a corporate entity distinct from myself. I'm not surety for, nor am I a trustee of that entity. I'm domiciled within the geographical boundaries of the state of, whatever, we're going to say the Republic of Texas. Okay? I'm domiciled, or I'm an inhabitant. You got a word inhabitant, domiciled, and resident. Get you a American jurisprudence and study all 3. So I'm an inhabitant, or I enjoy inhabitancy. That's another word, inhabitant, and inhabitancy. They're 2 separate words. Within the geographical boundaries of the Republic of Texas, on that land, within the United States of America, without the United States federal jurisdiction as outlined in the Constitution of the United States and Article 1, Section 8, Clause 10, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 of the Constitution, or under the Buck Act, or something like that. I'm doing this shit on top of my head, just saying things, I've done it so many times. But that's all you want to do. Your first step in any status correction is that you got to sever this presumptive amalgamation between you and the straw man. You're going to find that even in regular business, a lot of banks and attorneys, they seek to do that. They want you to be able to construe you and the corporation as the same because they want you to have all the liability. All right? That's what personal guarantees and all that shit is about. Getting you into some personal liability when the liability is supposed to be on the corporation. Well, the same thing is being conducted against you with your all caps name. They're trying to get you to be the surety. They're trying to get you to accept the liability.
Right.
Okay, so they are operating under what is called a presumption. There is something in law called a rebuttable presumption. I'm rebutting any presumption that you have that me and this all caps name are one and the same. And now let me tell you who I am. I'm a sovereign republic or U.S. national born within the geographical boundaries of the Republic of Texas. Okay? I'm not an acceptor of any benefits and privileges. I've taken steps to notify the Social Security Administration through a SSA 521 form that I will no longer be utilizing that account in an open status where I'm going to be adding credits and debits to it. Instead, it will now be used as a transmitting utility to offset public obligations. Because secure party is about private banking. That's not the status correction. The secure party aspect of the status correction is where you're setting up a process or a system where you can present negotiable instruments utilizing private credit to offset public obligations. It's all an accounting procedure that you're studying and using.
So when you become secure party or through the UCC1 and all that, you're like certified to make or manifest negotiable instruments?
Yeah, let me explain that. Okay, it's called a perfected priority interest in property. That's what a UCC1 is for. UCC1 is just a notice. It notices that you have a priority. The key word is priority. Perfected, meaning you took all the necessary steps, interest, and collateral of the straw man. The straw man, the all caps name, is a creation of the government. You don't own it. You can only control it. However, that entity is used to access your labor. Every time, like if you get a traffic ticket on the way home, they want your social security number. They want that all caps name. They need a name to put on the ledger of their books, all right, to establish some sort of entry into the book that you owe some sort of obligation to them. So what we're doing with the secure party process is we are already establishing that we have already a lien against the straw man. We already have a priority interest. And you want to give them that notice. When you do a secure party process, you want to notice the court administrator, wherever you live at. You want to notify the governor. You want to notify the sheriff. You want to notice as many people as you can. It's all about notices. Did you get proper notice? You can't come after the fact and try to get something and you didn't get proper notice. You got to get proper. You can't make claims. You can't use my name and you ain't gave anybody no notice. So this is about notices. The reason we're sending, and we don't send stuff to Puerto Rico. Where do I get my information on where to send things to? You read the Federal Reserve Act. It tell you who the players are. The comptroller of the currency and the Secretary of Treasury on 1500 Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C.
Pennsylvania. Right. I sent paperwork to them too.
Yeah, it's cool. You can send, it doesn't matter how many people you send paperwork to. You can send paperwork as many, if you want to send it to Puerto Rico, you can. You can send it as many spots as you want. The more people you notify, the better.
Right. And I sent a legal notice and demand too.
A demand for what?
Hold on. Oh man, it's in the phone that I'm on. Hold on, if you don't mind, hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
I hope this don't make no noise. I gotta put you on loud.
Nah, go ahead. Handle your business. I ain't going nowhere. You kind of piqued my curiosity. I wanna hear what you demand.
All right. Hold on. Here it goes. Hold on. Right. Here. Hold on. Legal notice and demand legal notice.
The sincere devotee doesn't need to know how to read. All he has to do is engage his senses unto serving the supreme. See, that's that old dumbass shit right there. People talking about you ain't got to read anything. If you don't want to read anything, then why did the ancients put stuff in writing? I mean, it's just stupid shit that they say. You know what I'm saying? It's like, like you just sit under a tree and meditate and let, and just through osmosis, you need mentors and all kind of stuff like that. Like, I heard people say that you don't need to read anything. I'm like, what? No one can
How you
unchain themselves from a prison they wish to be served by. You crazy as hell. You have the power of all things. Give up their disability payments from the, I don't know what they're talking about. But go ahead, let me know when you're ready.
Hold on, yeah, go ahead. Keep going. You do your thing. I'm legal notice.
If you can chant and listen, then you are eligible to invoke the Supreme Personality and realize Him as the super soul seated within the hearts of all living entities. I mean, that's some verbiage I probably wouldn't use, but I don't have any issue with it. The sincere devoted, let's see. But if you look deeper and you understand the allegories and you have a brain that has the left and hemispheres in some coherence, the Bible becomes a much greater text. I agree with that too. Now I agree with that. You know, I look at the Bible from an adept's perspective. You know, I look at it kind of probably how a Mason or somebody would look at the Bible. I don't look at it like the regular Christians do. You know, it's an instruction book telling you how to access your powers, but it's clothed in allegories and stories, and really not even that. It's just written in a language where the people living at that time had a different frame of reference. So you got to take that into account too. They didn't have televisions and cars and all this shit and electricity, you know. So they're using a different frame of reference when they're explaining things too. And it may appear that it's an allegorical form, but they're quite being literal in some of the things they say. But go ahead, you ready, brother?
I see it. Yeah. I see it, the Bible as a recording of what happened back then. All right. So I go to legal notice and demand. It says legal notice and demand, fiat, justitia, ruat, coelum. And it says to all state and federal, international public officials, this is a contract in admiralty jurisdiction. This title is for your protection. Notice to agent is notice to principal. Notice to principal is notice to agent. Then goes on to say, attention, any and all government, municipalities, cities, townships, public officials, lending institutions, brokerage firms, credit unions, depository institutions, and insurance agencies, credit bureaus, and the aforementioned officers, agents, and employees therein. This is a notice of the law as applicable to your corporate and personal financial liability in the event of any violations upon the rights, privileges, and immunities and or being of my government name and or the name that my trust is up under, or the trust and representation thereof. This contract being of honor is presented under good faith Oxford doctrine. And then it goes on for collateralists that is subject to this documentation. Please see both security agreement under item. Then it has my social, the number that.
Okay, I got it. Okay, I got it. You don't have to keep reading. I understand what's going on. Okay, so here's the thing. I want everybody to listen to me because I've seen paperwork like that before. When you're doing a secure party process, the number one thing you have to have in the forefront of your mind is that you are not an enemy of the United States. All right? You are here, your position in your correspondence is that you're here to assist them through their bankruptcy. All right? You're the master. Okay. They like little kids. They need help. They can't do anything. You got to think about this. The government could not do anything unless people sign their signatures on documents every day.
Right. Okay.
They need you. Commerce would stop moving if people stopped signing their name on documents. All right. So the first thing you need to understand is they need you. All right. They need you. I need your signature. All right. What you're doing when you write them is you making a contract with them where you're changing the terms of the relationship that you have with them, where you are offering your signature willingly on condition they accept these new terms that I'm offering. Number one, I'm going to give you a bond for $100 million. Now, any interest that is associated with this bond or any windfall that you're able to acquire from monetization of this bond is yours. However, you're going to leave the principal untouched, and I'm going to utilize that to offset public obligations. As a matter of fact, I will be using bills of exchange to achieve this, and as a matter of fact, I already have the check numbers for you, 1 through 5,000. I already have a claim on those numbers. That's going to put me in accordance with UCC 3-306, which is claims to an instrument, as well as UCC 3-305, which is claims and recoupment, as well as going to establish me in the position of holder in due course, which is UCC 3-302. All right? To get to 305 and 306, we have to do 302 first, which is the holder in due course. We need to understand what that is. So the reason that we're sending them a UCC1, a copy of it, and all these notices is to establish the fact of a UCC holder in due course status, because to have that status, you have to give them notice that you have a priority perfected interest in collateral, which is that bond that you're sending them. I'm the holder in due course of that. I put my signature on it. It is a negotiable instrument. Why do you think they don't send them back? It has value. It's a promise. The collateral is your securitization of the bond. That's why you're adding collateral to it, to give it value. And you're encumbering all your property, so no one else can make a claim against it. This is called asset protection strategy. So because everybody in the public is creating money through making claims against property. Your social security number is your property. The driver's license is your property. Your name is your property. Your children are your property. That's all your property. And they try to have some sort of attachment against that property in order to create money. Because you can only create money by having interest in things, liens, which creates negotiable paper that they can trade. Everybody's doing it. Mortgage is the biggest thing. You go to a closing table, you sign a promissory note and a mortgage. The promissory note is the payment. It's already paid for. But they're making a claim against your labor with the mortgage. Say you agreed to make payments for the next 30 years, and you didn't do that. Well, you let them know, well, look, I already have a priority perfected claim. Okay, now, even though I have this priority perfected claim, since I am attempting to help the United States through their bankruptcy, okay, I'm going to do an acceptance for honor, meaning I will accept all presentments because I have an unlimited exemption. There's no limit on my value. A workman is worthy of his hire. I can be, if I say I'm worth $1 trillion, that's exactly how much I'm worth. Who gonna debate it?
Yeah.
When there's in a world where there's no money, when everybody's issuing promises to pay. I can say whatever I want. Until gold and silver comes back into circulation, you can't call me on it. Because there is no money. So I'm giving you a bond. A bond is just a promise. I'm promising to do something in the future. My word is bond. I promise you when y'all bring gold and silver back, I'll give you $100 million. That's not going to happen because we live in a fiat currency based system. They're never going to put any gold and silver back in your hands again. Gold is for sovereigns.
So that bond, so the bond that I sent out, to San Juan, that's pretty much what you just explained.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's banking.
Right.
Okay, let me ask you a question. When you open up a bank account, they say, can you deposit $100 in your account? A $100 bill is a bond. Federal Reserve notes are bonds.
Right.
All right, so you're taking a bond to a financial institution and making a deposit. And then you're going to draw against that deposit with checks. Well, you're doing the same thing on the private side. You're going to a financial institution called the Treasury Department. You're making a deposit called a bond, and you're telling them you're going to be making withdrawals against that bond in the form of negotiable instruments, as well as with UCC3s.
Right. That's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you the same question over again. So now that I did the UCC 1 and the UCC 3, I just had the word I want to say. That makes me eligible to write negotiable instruments.
It does make you eligible to. Now, the thing I would suggest that you do is read Moses Washington, the exemption, and Moses Washington using the exemption, so you can understand what debts you can discharge and what debts you cannot discharge, and the mindset that you have to have in order to engage in this. You need to practice on your court skills, because all roads lead to court. All right. The HCR 192 is not for the corporations, it's for the government. The corporations are under no obligation to discharge your debt. What they are obligated to do is that if you tender a negotiable instrument to them, they are obligated to make presentment on that negotiable instrument. And that's why you give them processing instructions, telling them to go to the TT&L department of their bank and do a Fed wire to the Treasury Department, who you've already notified that they should be expecting. The Treasury Department needs an authorization from you to make the transaction. All this is running through the government, because that's what HCR 192, June 5th of 1933 applies to, them.
Right. Another question I have to ask you too, and it was right in my head. Hold on. This question was just in my head. Man, oh man. It was just in my head. I was listening to you. Hold on. Negotiable instruments. Something else. Dude.
Okay.
Now I know what.
Well, come on back, brother. Yeah. Let me let somebody. You've been on already 17 minutes. Okay. I gotta let some other people talk. Okay. All right. Okay.
Peace to the gods. Peace to the gods.
All right. I gotta listen. I know. I think I answered a lot of questions of his, though. You know. Let's go to area code. This looks like Georgia. Is this Georgia? Yep, Georgia. No, it's not Georgia. I thought it was Georgia. No, it's not Georgia. This is, where is this at? Oh, it's out in Cali, California. Mic's open. California.
Peace to the gods. Can you hear me?
Can hear you loud and clear. What's going on?
Thank you for taking the call. I have two questions. Can you point me in the right direction to learn about inheritance? Because I heard there's no inheritance tax in California, but this attorney is saying that there is 9.76% tax against the inheritance.
Against what? I'm not, against who?
This inheritance.
Oh, inheritance
from
tax.
My fiance, her father.
Oh, inheritance tax. Oh, okay, inheritance. Okay, let me explain something to you. Okay, I'm gonna try to make this very clear. All right, if we are talking about a tax, we're talking about something in the public, something that is statutory related. All right, and there are no taxes in the private; they don't exist. Tax law only exists in the public. That's why you need a certified public accountant. All right, everything is in the public. So the reason you get a trust is to avoid things like inheritance tax and things like that. You have everything in a trust, and then all you do is just change out the beneficiaries, and you don't even get involved in things like that. But as far as the tax, yeah, there's if it's in the public, that's what he's telling you. If it's not private property, it's some kind of way associated with a social security number, and any kind of way or something like that is well within their jurisdiction, and they're going to hit it with a tax. I'm just telling you. Yeah, attorney doesn't sound wrong.
Okay. So is there a way I could put it in a trust, or is it too late?
Well, yeah, listen. You got something called a fraudulent transfer. All right, try to evade creditors. It's called a fraudulent transfer. So you usually want to, at least my mentor, what she told me is try to put property in a trust 18 months out before you have any incident. That's the safe zone where it's outside of this fraudulent transfer. Fraudulent conveyance, what is it called? Fraudulent conveyance. Yeah, it's called a fraudulent conveyance. And you in California. So that in California is California Code 154 and 531. It's a penal code. Let me see real quick. So a penal code, criminal, is simply that official collection of state, you would need to know the specific jurisdiction, context. Fraudulent conveyance, yeah, 154. Penal code. Prohibits fraudulent conveyance. This is when a person unlawfully disposes of assets or property in order to avoid having to use that property to pay a debt or satisfy a judgment. This offense is a misdemeanor, punishable up to 1 year in jail. Every debtor who fraudulently removes his or her property or effects out of this state, or who fraudulently sells, conveys, assigns, or conceals his or her property with intent to defraud, hinder, or delay his or her creditors or their rights, claims, or demands is punishable by imprisonment in the county jail not exceeding 1 year, or by fine not exceeding $1,000, or by both, that fine and imprisonment. So you got to know about this fraudulent conveyance. Yeah, so if a matter's already been commenced against the property, I would say that it's too late to put it in a trust to utilize that as protection. Your best option is you said this is a tax matter. You can either discharge the tax because there isn't any money or something like that. I don't think I would even protest against it. I probably would just discharge it. I go the route of discharge. There ain't any money. They can't require you to pay in Federal Reserve notes. That's what HCR 182 June 5th, 1933 is all about. And I'm not going to say I don't have to pay a tax because I'm not a tax protester. I prefer to battle them in the arena of, was my form of payment lawful and sufficient? I'd rather have that argument. That's a rabbit hole they don't want to go down. They don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Discharge, is that the same as acceptance for value?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's called a set-off. You know, when you say acceptance for value, if you know the amount, you're going to say acceptance for assessed value. If there's made an assessment on the amount, you're not going to say acceptance for value. You say, I take this, your offer, and I've accepted it for assessed value in return for full set-off of this amount. Pursuant to HGR 192 of June 5th, 1933, gold and silver has been taken out of circulation, and the obligation owed to the citizens of the United States of America is memorialized in HGR 182, where they agree to set off your debt dollar for dollar. So the secure party process is just setting up a system where we can make them honor that promise. That's why we contacted the Treasury Department, giving them notices, telling them what we're going to do. Also, the reason why you are always giving them 30-day notices prior to doing anything with the secure party process, because of this thing called criminal intent, mens rea. But nobody can claim you intended to do anything if you gave everybody a notice of what your intentions are and gave them ample opportunity to respond to it or to tell you that, no, this is not lawful or you can't do this.
Okay. And to do the UCC1, weren't you saying I have to copyright the name as part of the prerequisite?
Well, you can. That was an old process, the copywriting of the name. I don't have a problem with that. It's called a common law copyright, where people, and you have to give proper notices to everyone to make that effective, by giving them notices. To me, that's kind of like having a security interest in property. I think that UCC1 accomplishes that because now the copyright gives you grounds to commence an administrative process where you can bill them for the use of your property. Some people charge like $500,000 per use. They make it very steep because behind the scenes, they play with very big numbers. They got us out here talking about $5,000, $50,000 like that's a lot of money, and that ain't shit. That's not nothing. $5,000, $50,000, $100,000. That's pennies. That's pennies.
All right.
That's pennies.
All right. And my second question is, last April I was arrested for literally doing nothing, and I was leaving Walmart parking lot, did my shopping, got in my van, started my van, played music, and the cops rolled up, pulled me out, arrested me because my music was too loud. But then when I was released from jail, they charged me with delaying an officer. And so I went to court, and I have court coming up on the 22nd, and they cut me like a deal because I heard you say you don't want to go to trial, and I don't want to go to trial, and I didn't want to give them a plea. And so I was telling my public defender I don't want to plead for anything because I was going to go into the is this civil, criminal, I was going to go into all that. And so the judge and her went behind the scenes for 5 minutes, came back, and they just rescheduled it. And then I got another public defender when I returned to court, and that public defender told me that a plea of not guilty was entered on my behalf when I didn't even give a plea. Well, anyways, they're saying I'm going to go to trial if I don't give them a plea. And so they offered me do 20 hours community service, pay $100, and pay $20 for an online 4-hour course for, I don't know what the fuck, pardon my French. And so I lost my job right before that court date, and so I don't have any money, but I did the 20 hours community service. What do you think I
Okay,
should do?
let me speak on some things. First of all, you don't ever succumb to threat, duress, and intimidation by an attorney or anybody like that. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is give that attorney, I'm going to give him a letter of instruction, an attorney letter of instruction. Some people call it a letter of rogatory. I don't like that because a rogatory is an instruction from one court to another court, and you have to understand that when you're a private citizen, you are your own court. The court is in the paperwork, but that, I don't go that route, so I just say attorney letter of instruction. All right, when you give this attorney letter of instruction, if he doesn't follow them, you're going to have to fire him.
You're
because
breaking
you
up.
can't.
You're all groggy right now.
Okay, I don't know what's going on with the microphone. It's always something, man. I'm like, damn. I don't even know what y'all are hearing, but I'll repeat it one more time. Is that better? Can you hear me?
No, a little bit. Sounds like you're in the water still a little bit.
All right, hold on. Let me see real quick.
Yeah, still not hearing you. But if your viewers can hear you, I can get off the line and maybe you could just answer my question then. I don't know if it will help.
Go ahead. Yeah, I'll answer your question.
Wait, I hear you now.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay. All right, the thing is
now you're clear.
Okay, cool. Where was I at? What was I talking about? Remind me where I was at.
Letter of rogatory?
Letter of rogatory. Yes, when you're using an attorney instruction letter, okay, that attorney is going to respond to that every time without fail. Examples of them, they have one in creditors and their bonds, and they also have one in a document called using a private attorney under international law. Essentially what it is you're telling them he can't foster an argument, that you agreed to accept the charges for value and consideration, and also that if he doesn't follow your instructions, he's to put in a notice of entry of appearance to memorialize this dishonor of your request, as well as the fact that he needs you could possibly be instituting a bankruptcy proceeding, involuntary bankruptcy. Because they are now debtor in possession, you should have given them a negotiable instrument to set it off or whatever you're going to do. All right. But the thing about it is don't let him get you. You're the sovereign. He's there to do what you want him to do. If he does not do what you want him to do, you fire his ass. In open court. First of all, you always put the instructions for him in writing of what you want him to do. You go and take a copy of it and file it with the clerk, and then make a copy and have it stamped and give him a copy to let him know that you filed this into the record, the instructions that you got for him. And your instructions is, I need you to read this into the record. If you refuse to do it, I want you to remove yourself from the case and put in a notice of entry of appearance. And then, put on the record why you dishonored me in my request. Then I'm going to take over. I'm going to read the instruction letter of my request that I wanted the attorney to perform into the record myself. And then I'm not there to argue. You got to understand that arguing is what to resolve an argument.
It's reversed.
Yeah, you got to go to trial. That's what trials are for, to resolve arguments. Yeah. That's what they're for.
Yeah,
so
and I don't want to go to trial.
That's what the acceptance for value is. It automatically kills a trial because you're accepting everything they're saying. It is a commercial confession and avoidance. They have something called confession.
Don't you put a bond in?
Uh-huh.
Don't I need to put a bond in?
Yes, they should. Usually there's a presumption of a bond that is in because the attorney has a bar card number, and all of them have taken an oath to uphold the Constitution, which is their bond. And there's a presumption that they're bonded, but there's not one in fact. That's why you put one on the record and put one in fact on the record. But yes, both sides are required to be bonded, but everybody in the public is bonded. So they always operate under the presumption that they're bonded. Huh?
What does that mean, like a bond? Like, do I put money?
A bond, it just means it means it's an indemnity vehicle used to indemnify someone against damages. They got to put up a bond. What if you didn't do what you said they do? That they said you did something. What if you didn't do it? Okay, you get found innocent. Well, they owe you some money. So that bond is their way of saying they can promise to pay it. And likewise, you doing the same thing. If I lose, I promise to pay. And admiralty, since people want to talk about admiralty, it's called a caution. Let's look up the word caution. It's called a caution. Let's look this word up. It's an admiralty term, caution. Look this word up. What is a caution?
It's a bond.
You already looked the word up?
So I remember I try and watch as many videos of yours as I can.
Here it is right here. Caution. Security given to ensure performance of some obligation. You offering some security. And admiralty, both sides had to put in a bond. If you look like in Georgia, we have OCGA 1711-1 and OCGA 1711-4. And also under Title 18, under creditors and debtors, they got bond provisions generally where they talk about, how they got this thing called a replevin bond. And what a replevin bond is if you went to the sheriff and you had a dispute over some property, the sheriff would make you put up a bond twice the amount of the property before they go and seize it. That was what a replevin bond was. They need to be indemnified in case, hey, you went and got this property and I didn't have a right to do that. So when we talk about bonds, we're really just talking about insurance. You're giving assurance by offering some insurance in the form of promising to pay in case you lose. Both sides need to put that in.
Yeah. Okay. Well, is it too late now because of all?
No, you can put it in anytime. No, you can put it in at any time before the commencement of the proceeding. You can put it in right now if you want to.
Okay.
Make sure after you put it in, make sure after you put it in, you get a certified copy of the docket sheet reflecting that you filed it.
Okay, and that's not me giving them any type of money, or that's just me writing?
No, you're not giving them any money. No, you're not giving them any money. Do a bonding company giving them any money when they bond you out of jail? No. What a bonding company does is that, first of all, to be able to be a bonding company in that county, they have to get approved by the sheriff. The sheriff is usually going to want them to have some real estate within the county. All right. So that's what they put up as collateral for being a bonding company, their real estate. That's why they come after you so aggressively if you jump bail. When they go and bail you out of jail, all they do is file a piece of paper saying you promised to come to court on such and such date. And they already know that the sheriff already know I got your collateral in case they don't. It's just a piece of paper.
Okay.
You doing the same thing.
Okay. Okay, I was going to go in there and do the whole, do you have a claim against me? Do you know anyone who does have a claim? I was going to have my public defender, have the judge request the prosecutor to read the assessment for the charge. I was going to do all that, but I just wanted to, because they were saying I'm going to go to trial, and I guess I let fear take over. How you said not
And
to do,
I'm
right?
think
'Cause
I'm and
they're
I
threats, they're gonna
appreciate you
threaten.
being honest, because that happens to a lot of people. You know, going into court is not a easy thing to do. It's purposely intimidating atmosphere. When you go in there, the atmosphere is intimidating, purposefully. Um, and you know, you just got this is where the spiritual grounding comes in. You know, like if I'm going to go to court,
I have
even
the truth with me.
yeah, anybody gets nervous. I get nervous. I go into court. You know, I got all this bravado and everything, but I'm a human being. You know, I'm going there and like, you know, I'm kind of antsy. But I'm tell you
Well,
this:
they're crooked.
once you get to talking, the fear goes away. Once
Yeah,
you start talking, that
especially when
fear
you know
go
what you're
away.
talking about.
So
Yeah.
you once you get talk, yeah, once
What if the officer doesn't show up?
well, if the officer don't show up, you move for them. You demand a dismissal. You move to dismiss. All right,
Yeah,
then
because his ass hasn't been there for the past 4 times. It's like, you know, where's the freaking plaintiff, right? Who's gonna? They don't
They
have
ain't been there
nothing,
4
right?
times, but you have to move the court. Demand that it be dismissed.
Okay, yeah. If he doesn't show up, like, you know, where's the
As a
plaintiff?
matter of fact, I would file a
Okay.
demand to dismiss right now. I go to ChatGPT, I'd upload my case and let it read it, and tell ChatGPT I had 4 court dates where the officer didn't show up, and tell ChatGPT draft me a demand to dismiss.
Okay, that's a good idea. I'll do that. I appreciate that. And then before I go, I'd like to make 2 comments.
Yes.
Maybe one. Jesus, all the words in the Bible, very wise, very spiritual, but Jesus was not a real figure in history. And anyone who doubts that, they can watch the 2-hour video on YouTube channel Eric Dubay that explains that. Everything is allegorical. It was a Greek stage play, and everyone started taking it literally. But it does have some spiritual knowledge in there that's very useful.
That's
And,
true. That's
if you
very
go
true.
to-
The person who made it, his name was Joseph Flavius. Do you know who that is? Joseph Flavius or Flavius Joseph?
Negative.
He's a playwright.
No.
His name is Flavius Joseph. I think it's Joseph Flavius. Yeah, Joseph Flavius. Yeah, that's him right here. Joseph Flavius Joseph. Who was he? He initially fought against the Roman Empire during the First Jewish-Roman War as general of the Jewish forces in Galilee until surrendering. What he said wrong? What is it? What is right? Let me see. We get down here talking about. Got a long impact on history, archaeology, audience, literary influence, and translations. Joseph was a very popular writer with the Christians in the 4th century and beyond as an independent source. Well, you can read it on your own. The thing is, I want to say this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus didn't exist. There are other figures that did the same thing he did in other cultures around the world, died, came back 3 years later. Anybody can watch Zeitgeist, and they did a very good job of showing that in the movie Zeitgeist. Go and watch. It's a very good movie,
Yeah.
Zeitgeist. And but that's not the point. The point is, once you understand these 7 principles, it doesn't matter if he existed or not. It's the wisdom that I'm getting and the knowledge that I'm interested in.
That's
not whether
right.
I could care
That's
less
right.
if Jesus
The
existed
message,
or not.
not the messenger.
Yeah, it doesn't
That's
matter
right.
to me.
I remember you saying all the time, you're like, I don't care if it's Kermit the Frog. It's the message. I remember you said that.
The
on a
message
previous
is
video
what
one
you
time.
want to get. And you don't have to get the message from Jesus. There are other places where you can get that message. I want to make that clear. But you know, there are people who you got to understand, man, there are very people, I never want to offend anybody's religious belief because they all contain power if you know how to use it properly. And that power being faith. And so there are Christians that have a lot of faith in this figure Jesus, and that faith will work miracles for them.
Oh,
Faith.
you're getting groggy again.
Well, we're just talking about faith. But
Demons
anyway,
don't-
let me get off.
The devils are fucking with the stream.
I know. Let me get off. I'm going to come back. All right. All right, y'all. Let me
It's all screwed.
All
It's all screwed up. Let me say one last thing, if you don't mind, real quick.
Yeah,
before I
go ahead.
And you can take the next call. I appreciate it. I was trying to get you on as a guest, YouTube channel Archaics, because I think you and him, his name's Jason Brashears, and he's done so much research. He was in prison for 26 years. He got out, and all he did was study, and he's discovered something that happens every 138 years. It's called the Phoenix. It's a phenomenon, and it does the resets on humanity every 138 years. and that's why other governments are doing underground bunkers and all that shit, because they know that it's coming, and it's crazy. It's
Put a link. Put a
Advanced
link.
Research and Chronological History
do
of
this
Artificial Intelligence X, and then the Nemesis X object is going to return in November of 2046.
Right. Let me
So check
ask
that
you.
out,
Do that.
and
Can you
I'd
do
like
this for
to
me?
be
Can you
a
do
guest on
this?
this channel.
Do this for me.
And I still can't hear you, but I'm about to hang up
Okay.
the phone.
I don't know what's
appreciate
going
you.
on with that.
Peace to the gods.
Okay.
God bless you, and God bless everyone listening.
All
Thank
right.
you. Bye.
I don't know if this is, it must be something wrong with my phone. Let me see, is there something wrong with my phone? It ain't on the internet, is it? It must be my phone, because I called in with this phone right here, so it got to be something with this. All right, let me say this to you. All right. Put your link to your show into the chat if you're listening to me right now. Just put the link to your show in the chat. Okay, I can hear myself. Okay. All right, so let me say this. All right, y'all, that's it for today. I got to go. It's 12 o'clock. I've been on 2 hours. I know y'all want me to ride all night, but it's 12 o'clock a.m. I got to get some rest. Anyway, we will do this again. Wait a minute, can I end it? Let's see. All right. Okay, cool. That was good. All right. So we will do this again tomorrow, a little earlier. I'm going to have another call-in show. It's going to be around 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, because I have a class to conduct tomorrow at 9 o'clock. One thing, I might have missed my little secure party class. I forgot, and I missed my class on Sunday. I was busy, slipped my mind. However, I'm not missing my my Tuesday and Thursday classes, because I love them. And it's a lot of work, though, getting these damn courses ready and things like this. It's a lot of work, but I love it. I love it. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that you hit the notification button. If you're not getting my notifications, make sure you got all clicked. Like this video so the algorithm will make it, grow. And we're going to do this again, okay? All right. Peace to the gods and goddesses. You've been listening to the hottest radio network on the planet. My name is Yusuf El.